what if I told you that right now, as we speak, you have parasites within your hair follicle? Demodex follicularum. Demodex follicularum is a parasite that lives inside of the human hair follicle, and today we're going to talk about how most likely the overgrowth of this parasite within the hair follicle is what's causing the burning, the itching, the swelling, the balding, the thinning, the scabs, and so many other scalp issues that we look at as CCCA, telogen effluvia, folliculitis, and so many other forms of alopecia. So if you want to learn more about this parasite that lives in your scalp and on your eyelashes, then make sure you keep watching to the end of this video. Don't eat anything. Don't be eating food or anything while you're watching this video because it's gross. So first, what is a parasite? Most people would say, what? I have parasites? Yes, right now you have parasites on the scalp, which is why I always say that absolutely nothing goes on the scalp except for shampoo and conditioner unless you're trying to cure an infection, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, what in the hell is this? Demodex is a parasite, and I know that that word like freaks a whole lot of people out, but what is a parasite? A parasite is simply classified as a living organism that lives inside of another living organism. So as you can see here on this video, it is living and moving right now as we speak within your hair's follicle. So what is it and what is it doing? Now, this is a parasite that lives on the human body, and it makes our hair follicles on our scalp and on our eyelashes specifically their home. And what are they there for? Well, they are there to eat sugar. Now, this parasite loves the human hair follicle. And why? Because its favorite food is sebum. So what it does, it finds the follicle, right? And it burrows itself inside of the hair's follicle, and it feeds off of the sebum that is coming directly out of the hair's follicle. Now, they range between 0.15 and 0.4 millimeters. They have elongated bodies, 8 legs, and a head, but they don't have no booty hole. Now, these mites feed on the human skin, especially your dead skin cells. And this part is gonna freak you out. They are most active at night, where they come to the surface of your skin to do it. They mate, and then they have eggs, and they lay their eggs. They mate on your scalp, like they be twerking something on your scalp, and then after that, she pregnant, she go back into your hair follicle and lay her eggs, and then they just keep going. That is their life cycle. The human hair follicle and the eyelashes are their home. Now, we have been coexisting. We are coexisting and have the ability to coexist with these parasites because we don't have a choice. You cannot get rid of all of them, right? You can't. But there is a way that you keep them controlled, and you do not allow them to vastly reproduce. It's your job to make sure that these mites are not able to be having a whole bunch of kids and living on section 8 in your hair follicle. Now, most people can coexist with these mites, but when left uncontrolled and when the environment of the scalp is not right, which we'll talk about in a second, they can colonize. When it goes unchecked and when this parasite is able to grow uncontrollably within the scalp, it turns into something called demodecosis. Demodecosis is an overgrowth of this parasite within the hair's follicle and on the eyelash. Symptoms of demodecosis are redness of the scalp, excessive or mild burning sensations, rough sandpaper-like skin, which is something that you guys like to call dandruff, white sheen on the skin of the eyelashes, matter on the skin, not lesions, but pus-like matter on the eyelashes that look like this, eye irritation, and loss of eyelashes when the eyelashes are infected with this parasite. Demodicosis is a little bit more severe in people who have a problem with their immune system, making it hard for their body to be able to fight off these bacteria, and people who suffer from HIV and things of that nature, because it becomes an overgrowth of the bacteria within the body regardless of what you do or don't do. Now, there are two different species of this parasite, and here they are right here. And I'm not trying to freak you out, but as you are watching me, you have these parasites on your scalp, and it is up to you to make sure that they don't have too many kids and overpopulate. Studies have shown that there are multiple different essential oils that do kill this parasite, but I need you guys to understand that the way that you guys have seen people use oils and essential oils and things of that nature on social media, and the way that you're actually supposed to use them are very different. Even when you go in to see a dermatologist, if you have this type of over infestation of this parasite within the hair's follicle, the first thing your dermatologist is going to do is prescribe you an ointment of some kind to put on your scalp. Sometimes it may be an oil base, but I need you guys to understand that most of the time, whenever dermatologists are recommending an oil to you, in their mind, you're washing your hair at least every 2 days, right? If you have an over infestation of this parasite within the scalp, the last thing you want to do is wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month to wash your hair. And also, you want to limit the amount of protective styles you are doing with this bacteria. That's why when you have weaves and extensions, especially a sew-in, there is a time limit that you have to leave a sew-in in. There is a certain procedure that you have to follow to put it in, and there is a certain form of maintenance pattern you have to follow to keep this parasite from overproducing and on the hair shaft and on the hair's follicle. Because remember, we can live with this parasite indefinitely. We can, but it is up to you to make sure that it doesn't overgrow. And we're going to talk about in a second what causes the overgrowth of this parasite. You're not going to like it. Now we're going to talk about prevention. What are some easy ways that you can prevent the overgrowth of this parasite that is going to live on your skin? It's going to. Now, they burrow inside of the hair's follicle, and then they eat the sebum that is secreting out of the sebaceous gland. They don't have a booty hole, so when they get full, they literally explode within the hair's follicle. And like I said, they are really harmless to us because they don't, like, sometimes they can burrow into like the skin, into like the second layer of skin, but they can't survive there. They literally explode. And this is why it is so imperative that you shampoo your hair on a regular basis. One of the easiest ways to get rid of this parasite and to control this parasite so that it doesn't turn into infections, so that it doesn't turn into an infection, a scalp infection or anything like that, is to use a scalp scrub. Here in this video, linked in the description box below, I tell you guys about my favorite scalp scrub. Literally, when you go to the shop, right, the shampoo is the most important part. This is why when I see cosmetologists like, oh, you have to come with your hair shampoo, it is crazy to me, because everybody has this parasite within the scalp, and the easiest way to get rid of it is with a scalp scrub and a detoxifying shampoo, right? And using the balls of your fingers, not your nails. They come right up because they're just burrowed. Like, look at the way that it's shaped. I know it's gross, but it's burrowed inside of the follicle. And at one time, like here on this picture right here, there's literally a family of them here. It's about 4 or 5 of them in one hair follicle just eating, right? So if you put oil in there, baby, this goes for the scalp and your face. Doing a gentle exfoliation on your face, especially focusing on your eyes, is going to be everything. I don't have nothing to say about lash extensions. Do what you want to do. I'm not going there. I don't care. But all I'm saying is this: there's a reason why most of the time after you wear lashes for a long period of time, when you don't wear them, you are bald head skittle doodle with no lashes in the middle, because most of the time this parasite has like eaten all of the everything that's there, and most of the time the hair follicle within the eyelash is actually dead because of all of the eyelash extensions and because of the overgrowth of this parasite on the lashes. You don't have to take my word for it, Google it yourself. And this is why everybody needs to be really careful, and only an esthetician should be doing lashes, because a lot of estheticians don't remember this part, right? Or maybe they didn't learn it, depending on what school they went to. But I can guarantee you, Mimi and Shalissa, they do lashes in the basement, don't know nothing about this. So go tell your homegirl to do your lashes at your own risk, but just know that this little parasite exists. That rhyme. So remember, not only do they burrow themselves inside of the hair follicle and make it their home, but they're feeding and eating off of the hair follicle. And remember, the hair shaft, the cuticle, is made up of dead skin cells. So, I mean, dead hair cells. So even some of those dead hair cells, those are coming off there. And the sweat, literally everything that's in the follicle, it eats it. Okay, it eat it. So you need to clean it up. Hyperkeratosis. I hope I said that right. But that is something that happens inside of the hair follicle when too much dead skin is allowed to accumulate within the hair's follicle. The reason why is because they're in there chewing, and when you're oiling and greasing the scalp, which we'll get to in a second, when this bacteria, when this parasite has a bunch of kids, they need to feed those kids, and they start eating away at the hair's follicle on the inside. And then over time, when it overpopulates, it begins to create scar tissue within the hair's follicle. And when you have all of that scar tissue within the hair's follicle, then you end up slowing down the natural hair growth cycle of your hair. Or even if your hair is still producing healthy hair follicles, there's so much scar tissue in the inner workings of the hair's follicle that is not able to hold on to the hair. So as fast as your hair is growing, it's falling out. So it looks like your hair is never actually growing. Again, this is again a part of the feeling of the burning and the inflammation that you're getting as the skin around the follicle is dying and creating scar tissue. That is sometimes what that intense itching is. Now, the hair's follicle creates this scar tissue because of the presence of all of these parasites eating away at your flesh. Clean them up so they won't eat your flesh. Your body is magnificent, and just like you got all these little critters eating, you have a gang that's in there that is going to protect you from it. And this is where your body sets off its immune response, and this is where inflammation comes. I tell you guys all the time, so quickly we run to products, but first you have to find the trigger. Because there is first the trigger, then the inflammation, and then there is the folliculitis or the CCCA and all of the different scalp inflammation that we have. But there is an initial trigger that we're going to get to in a second. One follicle disorder that is directly caused by the overgrowth of this parasite is folliculitis. Folliculitis looks like this, and it is when the hair's follicle gets clogged. It is overgrown with bacteria because it is stuffed full of freaking parasites. Like, this is why whenever people try to argue with me on my channel about whether or not oil and grease go in the scalp, I get irritated and I just shoo it away, because you got bugs in your scalp. Bugs. The overgrowth of this parasite and the feeding of this parasite will directly cause hair loss, and it is a really strong possibility that once this hair loss has went to a certain level, there is no reversing it. Why? Because as it is eating, it is killing the hair's follicle, and it is really hard for, how are you supposed to go back into the follicle and remove all of that old little scar tissue. A lot of times most women have been feeding this parasite within their scalp since they were little girls. Your mother starts feeding the parasite as they're little girls, and this is the thing, you're not born with this parasite. This parasite is transferred from mommy to baby, because you got to think about it, whenever you have a baby, you're like all in your baby's face, kissing and stuff, and your baby's on you, and the parasite jumps from mommy to baby, and then the life cycle continues. That's how it goes. So that's why it's so important to not clog the pores and the follicles. Now, this parasite has been linked to so many different hair follicle and skin conditions, like way more than we can count. So it is more than safe to say, and I've left a couple of different articles for you guys that want to read other articles on my blog, but there are so many studies on this parasite. Now, again, this is not the type of topic that is left up for debate or going back and forth. Like, get online, start doing your own research and really studying it for yourself, and because there's nothing to make up. This is literally one of the most disgusting things that I learned, that I kind of wish that I didn't learn, because once you see this shit, you cannot unsee it. Now, a lot of times the different follicle and scalp disorders that you're having, a lot of the balding and things of that nature, is your body's a response to an overgrowth of this parasite. It is literally a parasite. So when you let it overgrow through your practices, your body gets up, your body revs up trying to kill it, right? Because that's where the inflammation is coming from. There are things crawling and moving around. You can't see it with the naked eye, but I've had it here on the screen as we've been talking, so you can know it's real. For them to thrive, they need sebum. A sebum is food for them. That is what they thrive on. So the more oily the environment is, the better it is going to be. And the other thing that they like is wet environments, because you have to think about it, right? Water and oil don't mix. So if your hair is wet, there is a barrier of protection that is protecting them all the time. It's literally blocking them inside. I really need you guys to look at hair as a holistic practice. We're looking at it really one-sided. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to you. And hey little critter, hey little critter, hey, 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 hey. Sometimes producing too much sebum is not your fault. It's not anything that you've done wrong. Sometimes it could be your diet. So head over to my blog and check out this video right here so you can get your sebum production under control from the inside out. Remember, you are the only person in control of the infestation of this parasite. You are the only person in control. So what you doing? If you are a person who oils or greases the scalp in any way, shape, or form, my love, you are their favorite place to live. You know why? The oil and the butters that you're putting in your scalp and all of the different lipids that you've heard about, you are a living organism that these different lipids and benefits that live inside of these products help. And guess what? The parasite that lives inside of your hair follicle is a living organism too. And all of the benefits that it gives you, it also gives the oil that you're putting on your scalp. So when you put all that oil on your scalp, all you're doing is feeding that bacteria, the parasite that lives within your hair's follicle. All you're doing is feeding it, right? And by you feeding it, what is going to do one of two things, or it's going to do both. At night, after you oil your scalp at night, it's going to come out on your scalp and it's going to start and then she's gonna be pregnant. She's gonna go back into your hair follicle. She's gonna have some babies, and then she's going to eat until she explodes. She's gonna eat the sebum and all of the extra oil that you've added until she explodes, and then she's going to explode into the hair follicle. Most of y'all think that when y'all are scraping dead stuff off y'all scalp, most of y'all think that you're scraping off dead skin. The majority of those little crumbs that you guys are scraping off are these dead parasites parasites that have exploded within the hair follicle, and now they're secreting out of the scalp. I know it sounds disgusting, but it is 100% the truth. I really guarantee, like, if you go book an appointment with your dermatologist and then just ask them about this and what I'm saying, I can guarantee you they're gonna agree 1,000,000%, because I'm not making it up. They're on your scalp right now at this very second, and the only thing that you're doing when you add oil and grease to your hair are feeding them. You are not hurting them, you are not blocking them, unless you have a certain mixture of oil, which we'll talk about in a second, that you only leave on for a couple of hours and then rinse off. That is it, and that is all. Blocking the hair follicles with grease and oil and butters will eventually lead to folliculitis. Why? It leads to folliculitis because when you feed this bacteria, why do I keep saying bacteria? When you keep feeding this parasite, it overpopulates, and then your body, like I just talked about, it sets off a signal and it becomes inflamed. It creates the pus, and the pus is trying to like push this parasite out of the hair's follicle with the pus, right? That is what is happening when you see folliculitis. It'll burn, it'll be sensitive to touch, it'll really hurt. That is because there is an infestation of this parasite. The easiest thing to do to remove it is literally just shampoo your hair. Get some scrub with the balls of your finger. Shampoo is over. You have conditions like seborrheic dermatitis, folliculitis, CCCA, and things of that nature. When the dermatologist is looking at your scalp, all they see is a dead follicle, right? They just see a dead follicle, and they're not going to be like, oh my God, she has this bacteria there, because that bacteria is on everybody's scalp. It's on everybody's scalp. So they're guessing that you have they don't know why you have an overgrowth of this parasite. They just know that there's an overgrowth. So they prescribe an oil to you that has a carrier that is going to kill this parasite. That's all it is. Just like one of the number one things that you can use to kill it is tea tree oil. If you get a scrub made with tea tree oil, like a strong one made with tea tree oil, and use it on your scalp, oh my God, it'll be freaking amazing. Now, controlling Demodex mites is so simplistic, and what's crazy is the thing that causes the overpopulation of Demodex mites are the things that the Team Natural community looks at as pivotal, right? How? Well, number one will be your co-washing. When you are using co-washing conditioners, there is nothing within the co-washing conditioner that has the ability to kill these mites. Absolutely nothing. The parasite that is Demodex does not die from a co-washing conditioner. It does not. Not to mention, a co-washing conditioner should never be rubbed into the scalp. And for you to remove these Demodex mites, what you need to do is use the balls of your fingers to scrub the scalp. Why? Because as you can see here on these pictures, their faces are burrowed in, like they dive in like right head first, and then their booties are sticking up and out. So you have to scrub the scalp like this to pull them out. This is why you see certain cosmetologists using tools like this. It's not because it's cute, y'all. And some cosmetologists probably don't even know why they're using this tool, but this tool is the one that you use to remove all of these mites. When you see people removing them like this, you think that's dead skin. No, it ain't, boo boo. It is those exploded parasites, especially after you have hair extensions. After you take weaves and hair extensions out, you have to use some type of scrub or exfoliation to remove these exploded parasites from within and on top of the hair's follicle. I know it sounds gross, but when you're taking your weaves out and you see all of these little individual flakes and stuff on your scalp, for the most part, that is not dead skin. Those are those Demodex parasites that have eaten the sebum within your hair's follicle so much until it was full that it exploded within the hair's follicle. That is what it is. It's gross. When you think about it, it's disgusting, but it is the truth of the matter, and there is nothing that you can do to kill all of these parasites 100% for good. Nothing you can do. The only thing that you can do is work in co-creation with your body and make sure that your scalp and your eyelashes stay clean. So here are just a few practices. Like I said, regular cleansing, not co-washing. Co-washing does not count. Shampoo. Here are a couple of my favorite shampoos in the description box, but for sure, if you are a person who thinks that you may have an over infestation of this parasite, tea tree any shampoo with tea tree is going to be amazing. I love professional grade products, not the dupes of Paul Mitchell, but Paul Mitchell has one of the best tea tree shampoos on the market, period. And you will notice a lot of times after you use a tea tree shampoo, your scalp feels so light. You know why? Because it is. Because all of them little parasites that was in there, tea tree kills them on sight. But this is the thing, some people would tell you, oh, put tea tree essential oil on your hair. No, that's not what you do, because remember, these parasites aren't actually hurting you. They only hurt you when you allow them to overpopulate, but they're not really actually hurting you at all. What you need to actually do is go ahead and just make sure they don't overpopulate by making sure that you kill off any over infestation. But if you use an essential oil is going to kill every form of bacteria, everything that you see in sight. And in your hair's follicle, you have good and bad bacteria. This is just one of many, okay? Just one of many. In this video, the one in the description box, I gave you the names of at least 21 of them, right? This is a whole different one. But there are about 1,000 different forms of bacteria, yeast, parasites, all of that stuff on the human scalp. So when you are having regular practices that cause you to keep the scalp clean, you're good, right? And tea tree, tea tree oil in theory is good to add to the hair, but you have to understand that you'll kill it, yeah, but it's always coming back. You'll never be rid of it 100%, but what you will also be killing is the good bacteria, and you need that good bacteria to fight off those parasites that are still going to be there, because you're never going to be rid of them. But if you put tea tree essential oil on your hair, you're still going to have some of those parasites left, right? You're still going to have some of them, but you're going to be lacking a whole bunch of good bacteria. So you're going to kill, yeah, you'll kill a couple of them, but you're going to kill the majority of your good bacteria that's fighting the ones that are there. So then the colonization process starts all over again. Like, they're able to populate unchecked completely. I really hope that makes sense. I do not recommend using tea tree essential oil directly on the scalp. That's why, again, use shampoos and conditioners that are formulated with tea tree. And again, Paul Mitchell, my favorite one, right? I almost guarantee, with a scalp scrub. And again, all of my recommendations are in the description box, but with the scalp scrub, a tea tree based shampoo, like, you're good. It's not a big deal. You have a regular shampooing process. You're not clogging the pores and the follicles. You're only putting oils and butters on the scalp when needed, which leads me to the next one. One thing that I always get from people when I say don't put oils and butters on the scalp, they'll always be like, oh, well, Indian women put oil on their hair. Indian women put oil on their hair, then the oil is normally mixed with an essential oil like tea tree, or like rosemary, or a couple of the other different essential oils that kill this form of parasite, right? They'll put that oil on their scalp. They sleep in it. Why? Like I told you earlier, these parasites come out of the scalp at night. They're most active at night. So they put the oil on their scalp, and then they rub it in, right? With the balls of their fingers, they're rubbing it in really good. When they're putting their heads upside down, part of it is for blood circulation, but the other part is so that these parasites will fall out, because they're anchored in head first, tail sticking out. So they do, you put the oil mixed with essential oil on the scalp, Rub it in so that way the parasite is suffocating and dying, holding the head upside down, letting them know that they're falling out, dropping out. They start crawling out of the follicle onto the scalp. You go to sleep. They naturally come out to mate on the scalp, but the scalp is covered with tea tree, right? And we're not covered just specifically in tea tree. Whatever the oil mixture was that they have that includes tea tree in it, the parasites, when they come out on the scalp, is tea tree everywhere. So they just and then first thing in the morning when they get up, they shampoo with a clarifying shampoo to remove all of those excessive parasites off. That is what they're doing, y'all. They're not just randomly putting oil on their hair just to put oil on their hair. Their hair is not long because they have a bunch of oil or because they put oils and butters on their scalp. Their hair is long because they never allow the colonizing parasite that lives on everybody's scalp and eyelashes naturally. They never allow it to colonize. That is why oil is left on the scalp. A lot of people that do it probably just do it culturally because it's what their mothers and grandmothers always did, not even knowing why they did it. But that is what you leave oils and butters on overnight for. Just like in one of my ebooks, I give you a certain oil mixture that you use, but you mix it with tea tree and a couple other essential oils that are specifically aimed at killing this parasite, right? And you're only supposed to use a very small amount with a cotton ball. And then after that, like, you're not supposed to like wait years to wash your hair. My recommendation is always after you do that, even going over the scalp with like rose water or witch hazel to remove the excess oil, right? And it also is going to, it will also curb your inflammation because that is one of the main properties of witch hazel and all of its abilities. I'm never trying to be rude, but it is YouTube that taught you guys that oils and butters and all of that stuff goes on the scalp, because it doesn't. When you're using oils and stuff like that, we're supposed to do mid shaft to end. So from like here on down, that's it and that's all. Because when you're putting oil on the scalp, you're literally feeding the parasite that's there. There's no ifs, there's no maybes to whether or not that parasite is going to be there. It is there. And a lot of times I have people comment and say like, oh Sam, what do you do about sebum production? Because I don't produce that much sebum, my scalp doesn't produce oil. I can almost guarantee you that the main reason that your scalp is not producing sebum is because you have multiple parasites clogging the hair follicle and not allowing the sebum to come through, because they're eating it as it's coming through the sebaceous gland. I know that it's creepy, I know that it's gross, I know that it may be freaking you out. I don't even have on mascara today because in putting this video together I was so freaking grossed out, even though I already know this. Oh my god, it just makes me itch because I know that they here and there's nothing I can do, and they need to pay rent. Y'all need to pay rent. Y'all live on my scalp and on my face, and then y'all just eating my body parts, and then when I go to sleep y'all come on my scalp and do it, and then you gonna have your kids in my follicle. Ain't that some shit? But guess what? That's what's happening. So wash your hair, bro. Because when you add oil to your scalp, you think you doing something. It's a baby shower. When you add oil to your scalp, it's a baby shower for this parasite. She pregnant. She was getting her freak on your scalp last night. And then you added all of this oil and shit. They was swimming around in that oil getting freaky. And then, oh, they was freaky. They ate the oil, then went back in the scalp, had some babies and ate some more oil. That's why your hair ain't growing. You not doing nothing special when you greasing your scalp. And I don't care how long your grandma and your mama and your sister, Auntie Tracy and them did it. There's a reason why there are multiple groups and races of women who have long hair with no problem of growing. And then there's a certain group of women who can't grow hair like they want to. You know why? The women who can't grow hair like they want to got legions of animals. You are monsters inside of me. You see a woman with greasy hair, just be like, girl, you got monsters. You got a girl or somebody in your family that always add oil and grease to their scalp. Don't you let them sleep on your pillows. Cause they, hey little critter, hey little critter, hey little critter, hey. I love you guys. I really hope that this video was informative. If you've learned anything new, then make sure you let me know in the description box. I know that you freaked out. I know that you probably itching right now, but guess what you need to do? If you are a person who ain't washed your hair in a month, you better take your funky ass in the bathroom and wash your hair, because you got a bunch of little critters eating in your follicle. So don't, if you are a person who got thinning hair, your scalp is burning, it's itching, and it's flaking, it's falling out, you got bald spots, you got bumps in your scalp, and you ain't been washing your hair like you supposed to, it's your fault. You've been using co-washing conditioners and a bunch of oils, it's your fault. You got a bunch of little critters. You don't gotta take my word for it. Head over to my blog post, and in the blog, again, I show you exactly what you can do to remove it. But here, in short, the easiest thing that you can do is just washing your hair. Just shampoo your hair, bro. But real shampoo, bro. And don't put nothing on the scalp, bro, unless it's shampoo, bro. That's it. And lastly, the only thing that I'm gonna give you, if you wear weaves and extensions, right, I really recommend that you get some witch hazel, right? And get witch hazel and take witch hazel on a cotton ball, or take witch hazel on a cotton ball, or you can get a light spray bottle and you can go in between all of your braids and then just rub with your fingers lightly, right? Rub with your fingers lightly, or use a tool like this one just to get them off, right? This tool is also really good at removing that parasite from inside of the hair's follicle. So once you go over the scalp with the witch hazel and you do this at least once a week, then what will happen is you'll control it. You'll control the inflammation and the different things of that nature. But again, I'll teach you more about that in a video coming really soon, because the witch hazel and rose water need a video all to themselves. So make sure you let me know what you think about this video. Let me know whether or not you gonna wash your hair like you wash your ass, and I'm gonna see you next time.